Last night, Donald Trump talked to Fox's Sean Hannity and raised a few eyebrows with these comments about dealing with the terror group. Listen.
I would get everybody together and I'd blast the hell out of them. They wouldn't be there long, believe me.
Strong words there, and joining us to talk about it, political analyst Brian Sobel. I also heard Trump say, Brian, that are Syrian refugees a Trojan horse here in America? Right. What do you? I mean, this is a hot topic for all the presidential candidates, but specifically, what do you think about Donald Trump there?
Well, Donald Trump, again, shooting from the lip and playing to a base that really is upset about everything that's going on around the world, certainly immigration, and this has a form of immigration tied in it. And so he's, again, just shooting his mouth off.
Mm-hmm. So he is jumping on the, like you said, the tide of the country, the emotions, and hoping that it would carry him further toward winning this nomination.
Right. I mean, that's what his calculus is. But, of course, highly unlikely at the end of the day, still in my view, that Donald Trump ends up with the nomination.
Let me play for you a quick clip of what President Obama had to say, essentially accusing Republicans of using the refugee crisis to score political points.
But apparently they're scared of widows and orphans coming into the United States of America as part of our tradition of compassion. Now, first they were worried about the press being too tough on them during debates. Now they're worried about 3-year-old orphans.
President Obama is certainly not shying away from initially saying, and he's keeping the message, we are America, we welcome immigrants, we are not going to change that. What do you think of his statement there?
Well, I think at its core, it's right. We accept people from other parts of the country. We are the great melting pot. What is starting to bubble up, however, from people like Dianne Feinstein, Leon Panetta, and other leading Democrats is we better vet the people coming into the United States very clearly before we allow, say, 10,000 people to come into the country.
Now, speaking of Democrats, Hillary Clinton had aligned herself with President Obama on many issues during this campaign, but now it seems as if she is distancing herself from the president's stand on ISIS. It seems as if they're not exactly on the same page.
Right. Well, the sands are shifting. And she realizes that the polling is indicating that Americans are not happy with the president's handling of the ISIS situation. And like any good politician, she's going to maneuver around that issue. And Sal, that's exactly what she's doing.
And shouldn't this be her thing, foreign policy, as former Secretary of State?
Absolutely. She has to own this issue. She's the one person who, in this race, who has traveled around the world, has met most of these leaders, the Francois Hollandes and everybody else.
And she's faced criticism for some of the handling of the situation, you know, Benghazi and all that. So yes, she needs to be, right on this, I guess, for her followers.
My guess is that she's going to really torque up her rhetoric around this issue, getting very, very tough. Because she realizes that when this becomes a general election, when she moves beyond the primary, she has to appeal to a lot of people on the other side of the aisle. And one way you do that is by being tough on things like terrorism and our enemies around the world.
You mentioned the senator from California, Dianne Feinstein. I'm curious because talk about someone who has tapped into the intelligence community is Senator Feinstein. She went out and disagreed with President Obama, saying ISIS is not contained, that ISIS is indeed expanding.
Absolutely. She has been a lone voice at times about the need for Democrats in particular to get behind this idea of ISIS being a huge world threat. And as she says often, I read the intelligence faithfully, that was a quote, and she is very, very concerned about this issue. I know some of her people. They have told me that she's very, very concerned about this issue. And, she sees things we don't see as American citizens.
Right.
And she's sounding the alarm, and we better listen.
And I wonder if Californians will listen more to their senator than to the President of the United States on this issue.
Well, Mike, a really interesting question. But they should listen to their senator. She's the one getting the daily briefings and is willing to kind of go out and again, sound the alarm bell. The President has a very tough job trying to moderate all the points of view. Feinstein, as somebody who's very involved in the intelligence community from her role as senator, can go out there and be very blunt about all of these situations.
Brian Sobel, political analyst, thank you for joining us again this morning
yes,
on The
absolutely.
Nine.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep.